Welcome to the second half of Chapter 13, and in this video we're going to cover superlatives. There are 3 degrees of adjectives: positive, comparative, and superlative. And superlative is translated blankest, or very blank, or most blank, but blankest is most common. So how do we form this? No matter what declension an adjective is, first, second, third declension, now there won't be fourth or fifth, but first, second, or third declension, in its comparative degree, it is third declension, but in its superlative degree, it is first and second declension. And why? Because issemus, issima, issemum is the way that the superlative ending is made. Or in some rare cases, erremus. This is for adjectives with an er, like pulcher, keller, aiger, niger, ruber. No matter which declension, if they're an er adjective, then they go like this. So let's get a sense of what we're going to be doing. So here we've got positive degree on the left and superlative on the right, and we're going to stick on issem in front of the ending. So like antiquus aum, old, would become antiquissimus aum, oldest. Pulcher, pulchera, pulcherum is going to become pulcherrimus, pulcherrima, pulcherrimum. And these are, of course, quite rare. Issem is much more common. So let's do a few of these down lower. Humani, of a human one, becomes humanissimi, of a very human one. That's kind of weird. Foidum, ugly or dirty, is going to become foidissimum, very ugly, or ugliest, or dirtiest. Aigra, with the sick one, is going to become aigerrima, with the sickest one. Alta, high things, are going to become altissima, highest things. Plenarum, of full things, are going to become, see if you can think of it, plenissimarum, of the fullest things. Paucos, few things. Paucissimos, fewest things. And then there are a few irregular stems, which we're not going to get till a later chapter. Bonus aum is normal, but in comparative it'll be melior, melius, weird, and in superlative it's going to become optimus aum. And don't even worry about this because you're not going to have it till like chapter 19. Multus became plus pluris in its comparative, but in superlative it's going to be plurimus, very much, or very many. Parvus would become minor minus in its comparative, but in superlative it would become minimus, least. We have our own word for least, of course, you know, right now. Exiguous. Yes, that's in this chapter. That was easy because everything was first and second declension, but what if we have a third declension adjective? Well, it doesn't matter if it's third declension, you still, to make the superlative, force it to be first and second declension. Of course, first you have to get the stem. So with phalix, I would have to look down to the genitive phalique to get the stem, and that's the stem, phalique. So phalicissimus is the way I would make very lucky or very happy. Tristis, think if you can get this one, what would it be in the superlative? Tristissimus, right. Pretty simple. You know, this is way easier than the comparatives. Keller would be what? Calerimus. Calerima, calerimum. Because remember, that's an ER adjective. Brewi, okay, what would that be? Well, you don't know what gender it is, so it could be one of two things. Brewissima or brewissimo, either one. Lewes, again, lewissimi or lewissimi. Brawia, heavy things. Now you know this one then. Brawissima, of course. Tenuium, and we're not going to have I stems over there in the superlative. No, I stems are just in the positive on the left. So it would be tenuissimorum or tenuissimarum. Yeah, that I there was an I stem. Tristibus, tristissimes. Whoa, that's confusing. So once again, that's what you're doing. You might want to just run through saying all these to get your mouth in the habit of saying the right thing. Formation. Here's the actual rule. First, get the stem, like that. Then add ismus or erimus if it's an ER adjective. You see, I put it in parentheses here, ER in parentheses, because you don't really add that ER. You only actually add the RIM. The ER part is automatically in the word. See in the brown here how I just added RIM because the ER was already there. Okay, so that's the way you do it. Get the stem, add ism or erim, and then put on your first and second declension endings. Simple, isn't it? All right, so now let's hit our adverbs. And so far we've hit the positive adverbs, the comparative adverbs, and now we're going to get to the superlative adverbs. But I want us to do all of them in one slide. So here's how it's going to go. To make the positive adverb, write one of these three things. Or a are the two options if it's a first and second declension adjective. Iter is the only option if it's a third declension adjective, so like tristiter. If it's a comparative adjective, however, you always write ius. There's only one choice there. And now here we're going to get the superlative adverb. It's going to be nice and elegant issime. How wonderful. It's exactly what you would expect. For example, if it's a first and second declension adjective like lightus, lighta, lightum, then you could say lightum or lighte for happily, lightius for more happily, and now we're going to have lightissime for very happily. And there are several alternative optional translations for the comparative and superlative. At the comparative, instead of blanker, you can have more happily, or rather happily, or quite happily. And then at the superlative, happily est, or most happily, or very happily are the ways that you can say that. But the simplest, fastest is for me to just say leer or least. And then for a third declension adjective, we have, which also means happy, feliciter, happily, felicius, happilier, and felicissime, happiest. Time to practice. You're going to use these words, so stop the video and check and make sure you know all these words pretty well, because I'll use some of them in the next slide or slides. Write the requested form using just one word. So on the left up here we have the positive, but then over there on the right we've got the superlative. So the wide man latus would become the widest man, latissimus, or your longest muscle of your back, your latissimus dorsi. You try the rest, stop the video, and start it again when you're ready to see the answers. And here they are. Notice that we had several I stems on the left and none on the right, because, again, I stems are only in the positive. So now, the real test of whether you can do this. This is the glossary I'm going to use for the next story. Stop the video and make sure you know all these words. And then when you're ready to go, here we go. So fill in the blank with the form of the given word which matches. So, and all of these are going to be either comparatives or superlatives. So watch out for the alternate translations. Remember, quite and rather and more are all comparative, whereas very and most are superlative. All right, so stop the video and start it again when you're ready to see the answers. Notice down here at the 11th hour that you can stack up adverbs one on top of another. Why is that? Because an adverb is what is used to modify an adverb. So here, clarius and obscurius lucet is the base sentence. But I can modify clarius and obscurius even more by tacking on iquissime. So you could say a huge sentence with tons of adverbs, like he very excessively happily ran to the store. I had 3 adverbs in that. Happily was the base one, but excessively modified that, and very modified that. So you can stack up adverbs like that. It gives you great power to qualify and typify and fine-tune the precise connotation that you want to deliver to the listener. Adverbs are how you show yourself to be a true master of a language. So if you're going to learn to speak Latin, these are probably more important than adjectives. First, they're easier because there's only one or two forms at each level, but then beyond that, they show huge control over verbs and other adjectives. All right, so as you're going through your Latin career, try to note, oh, that would be a good adverb to remember. This would be a good adverb to remember. Those over there, they don't matter so much, but like valde, very much, or multum, muchly, or vix, scarcely. All these things that control the degree of something are very powerful words to know if you want to speak and communicate in the language. But you don't have very many adverbs yet. You'll get more of them as you go on. Okay, so now you know fifth declension and superlatives. The only other thing in this chapter is the ordinal numbers, so I'll put a link down in the video description to this grammar chart. This is chart number 12, as you can see, and the third column here has those ordinals. They're called ordinal because they tell at what place in an order something came. So primus, secundus, tertius, quartus, quintus, sextus, septimus, octavus, nonus, decimus. And then you see here that you also have undecimus, 11th, duodecimus, 12th, and postremus, last. So I suggest that you chant these repeatedly until you can say all of them without looking. Primus, secundus, tertius, quartus, quintus, sextus, septus, octavus, nonus, decimus, undecimus, duodecimus, postremus. And you probably should do that with the numbers too. Unus, duo, tres, quattro, quinque, sex, septem, octem, novum, decem, undecem, duodecem, and so on. So note that also in this chapter. All right, that's all. Good luck with chapter 13 stories. Waleta.